An act of pure evil. That's what Britain's Prime Minister David Cameron is calling the murder of an aid worker taken hostage by ISIS militants. David Haines is the third Westerner killed by the Islamic militant group. Video of his beheading was just released this weekend, just weeks after 2 Americans were also killed. Cameron vows to do everything in his power to hunt down the murderers and ensure they face justice. Last week, President Obama pledged more U.S. airstrikes against ISIS in both Iraq and Syria, but maintains no ground troops will be sent. The U.S. strategy also includes arming moderate Syrian rebels fighting both ISIS and the Bashar al-Assad regime. But should the U.S. do more? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Facebook page and Twitter. Use the hashtag Fox26 for life. In our newsroom, we have our legal analyst again, Chris Tritico, news analyst Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. All right, do you guys think that he can destroy ISIS with the strategy that he has laid out?
Well, I hearken back to when Bill Clinton used a air war only in Bosnia, and everyone said this will never work, and it did. It brought down the Bosnian government, and it's been more stable ever since. So can it work? Yes. Will it work in this instance? We are not attacking, again, we're not attacking a government, we're attacking a movement, and that makes it a lot harder. The problem the president has is no one in the United States is supporting a ground war. As a matter of fact, the last poll I saw, there was less than 20% of the population, I think around 13% of the population that was in favor of sending in ground troops. And no one in government is suggesting that except John Boehner the other day, which kind of surprised me. The problem the president has, I think, who's first? Jackie, we'll go with you. The problem the president has is building this coalition. France shockingly said, we will not go into Syria and we will not join you unless Iran is brought in with us. The president can't do that.
Whenever we see videos like what we just saw, the beheading of this last gentleman, it makes us very anxious. That's one word. And so a lot of people are saying, we were happy that the president came out and he said, we are going to do something. It's only going to be airstrikes. But now you're seeing people, Boehner, others saying that it has to be, we have to have some kind of ground activity. I don't think we say we as in the United States. It would be great if Saudi would get involved, even maybe Turkey. Right now they're staying away from it. And this international coalition that we were once hearing that they're trying to build, so far they're not being very effective for many reasons. And so that's a bigger problem for the president, because whenever if they continue to attack our citizens and continue to throw it in our face the way that they're doing, we are going to be at the point that airstrikes, we're going to say, look, that's not enough. We have to do something else, because this group cannot be contained. The president keeps saying we're going to contain them. This group cannot be contained. This is an outright, this is a war. And you see a lot of debates going back in his own administration. Some say it's not a war, some say it's a campaign. It's definitely a war.
You know, answer France. I just find it shocking that they would require that we involve Iran, knowing that we just can't do that. And I want you to answer John Boehner, who said yesterday that this strategy will not work without troops on the ground, knowing that the House of Representatives will never approve that. Why would he do that?
John Boehner often offers up his caucus and then is not able to deliver the votes. That's been consistent since he's been Speaker. This, you know, and in terms of France, this is a regional conflict, so France is looking for all the regional players to play a role, but it's not just difficult for us to work with Iran, but what you don't want to do is to feed into the Shia-Sunni narrative, and you don't want to begin to side with one side over another, because then it exasperates the
problem that we already created.
The problem we're already in. Look, I think that ISIS is a vile organization, and everything has to be done not just to contain them, but to bring an end to it.
Including a ground campaign?
You already have a ground campaign. So it's like, on the one hand we say we don't have troops on the ground, but we have troops on the ground. It's a matter of how many.
All right, let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Let's check in on Twitter to see what our viewers are tweeting. Ward Jones, a local attorney here in town, he says, will the president stick with his air-only policy on ISIS, and can 4,000 NATO boots on the ground succeed if they do commit? And then this person here says, without boots on the ground, this action against ISIS is just a paper dragon.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, the paper dragon argument, but I do agree with the first gentleman who said, is 4,000 enough? And absolutely not. You can't go into an area this big, this large, involving 2 separate countries with 4,000 troops, if you're going to do that.
That's true. And another disturbing fact is we found out this week that the CIA has revealed that the group is a third, well, we thought it was a third smaller than what it actually is.
Right.
So that's very troubling in its fact. And also, do you know that they're recruiting a lot of their members through social media?
Right. They're big social media. They're doing a great job at it.
It's all very disturbing.
Actually.
And we keep bringing up Boehner. I'm not a fan of Boehner's, but I will say this. He did say after all of those comments that we only have one commander-in-chief, and we do need to support him. I think what we're seeing from both sides of the aisle, we're seeing frustration. Many people have different viewpoints as to how to tackle this problem, but at the ending of the day, you are going to see cooperation.
And on that vein, we're almost out of time, but members of the House and the Senate have suggested they are reluctant to vote on the president's plan from both parties because they don't want to put their fingerprint on something that is so sticky. If Congress won't support the president in this, how's he ever going to get anything done?
Well, the sense from some number of House leaders that something will get done. The question is when and how many restrictions will it have on the president to act on this. This is a very fluid situation. So if you create a lot of constraints on his ability to lead on this issue, and then you take pot shots at him, then nothing's going to be.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. We'll be back in a little bit. I forgot, but we'll be back in a minute, Sally.
Hey, we're going to talk about the Adrian Peterson indictment. It's a big talker out there today. Okay, thanks, guys. Let's check in with Caitlin.